Hello, everyone. Andy Goldberg here. Welcome to the Founders Chair podcast. Very delighted to have on the show today Colin Smith, who's the managing director of Sives Surfacing and Land Technology Limited. Colin, welcome to the Founders Chair.
Hi, thanks, Andy. Thanks for having me on.
Real pleasure to have you on the show today. Colin, can we just start by finding out a little bit more about you personally, like where you're from, where you live, what are your hobbies, family,
Yeah,
etc.?
so obviously my name's Colin Smith. I was, believe it or not, born in Switzerland, but I've lived in just outside of Edinburgh, West Lothian, for most of my life, since I was three, basically. So hence the accent or lack of. Family-wise, I've got two children, a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old boy and a girl, and a partner, Debbie, as well. So we've got a wee dog. So all that kind of keeps me busy. But in between times, I'm also currently training for a triathlon, which is happening on Sunday up in St Andrews, and the Edinburgh Marathon, which happens at the end of May as well. So fairly busy, active life, trying to juggle business, family, and fitness.
Wow, that's amazing. I suddenly feel like I can't look you in the eye. Oh, that's brilliant. So tell us the story. We'll find out about the companies themselves in a minute.
Yeah.
Just tell us the story about how you got here. How did the business come about? At what point did you feel you had the confidence to run the business? I'm not sure whether you started the business or you took it over. Just tell us a little bit about how you got to this point as the managing director of two companies.
Yeah, so it started with the one company. So my history was in landscaping. I went through apprenticeship, college, then into leadership, supervision, management, operations management, area management, etc. And with various companies in construction sector and the maintenance sector and in the domestic sector as well. So I'd got to my early 30s and had built up this sort of back catalogue of experience. And then an opportunity came up to discuss setting up a business with Sives Surfacing as a subsidiary. So I produced a business plan, which was beneficial at the time because it gave us a real starting point for the business. Presented it to the ownership of the parent company essentially, and yeah, then we took it from there. It gave me the confidence to set that up. Like I said before, young family, and was in a steady, stable career path anyway. But having that sort of clear vision of that I wanted to become a director or owner at some point in my life. And this seemed like a good go-between between the two. So I wasn't taking the full risk. I still had a bit of backing, and it was fairly calculated. So
Yeah.
that's
So
how land technology came about. And then we ran that land technology for a year, had a fairly successful year one. Everything was going to plan. And then COVID happened, and that sort of set the wheels in motion for the rest of the story because the managing director of J Civis Surfacing was a gentleman in his early 70s and was quite keen to continue to work on, but then decided after COVID that he quite liked being able to be at home with his grandchildren, children, etc.
mm,
So the opportunity arose for me to take on the managing director role of J Civis Surfacing. And part of the negotiation of that was that as if I was taking over that business, I would like the opportunity to buy it off the owner in the future. And then we ran it for a year under the new leadership, and then we presented the case for the management buyout, which took about another year to complete. And then that eventually completed in March 2022, um, which we just finished our final payment at the beginning of March for the 3-year bank loan. So it was a massive milestone for us.
yeah, congratulations. That must have
Yeah,
been
it was great.
it must have felt like a lot longer than than the time
Yeah,
it took.
yeah, definitely. But the amount of learning you do throughout that period, when you understand what the bank is looking for when they're asking all these questions, made us really focus on what is the business doing and how is the business doing it. So, how profitable is it on a monthly basis? Really dialing into that monthly management information. That's what the bank wanted to know and wanted to be clear on. So we started using that information ourselves as well and just kept on that process so that we really understood
Yeah.
the peaks and troughs of the business and how it was operating, where the costs were going and how we were managing it all. So that became the backbone of how we operated the business. So we're quite thankful to how critical the bank were. It really sharpened us up on a business management sort of point of view as well.
That is not a very common perspective you hear from business owners when talking about the bank that
Yeah.
put them through this process, but you're really looking at it from a much more appreciative point of view,
Yeah, it
almost
was a
student gratitude.
yeah, yeah. They need to know the information for a reason, and it's kind of basic business management essentially is know your numbers. Where have you come from? Where are you now, and where are you going? So we now know that, and we've kept that process. We've kept all the spreadsheets and the management information that were that we use to form our kind of strategies going forward.
So tell us a little bit about your companies now. What do you actually do? Who are you?
Yeah, so JService Surfacing is, but they're now two separate entities, so they run in their own right, and I'm the sort of the joining factor, if you like. Yeah, so JService Surfacing are road surfacing civil engineering company. We contract to direct to other businesses. For example, we do quite a lot with fourth ports up and down the country. We work with sort of partner contractors that they do a lot of the groundworks, and we'll come in and do the road surfacing, curbing, drainage, and we work on APAC frameworks as well for NHS and universities across the country. So they're the kind of mainstay, but we also do larger scale domestic jobs, and we look after quite a few factories and industrial units and things like that. Retail parks are also a big part of it. We've just finished the Tesco store in Rosyth, which was a full renovation. It was quite a good one. And we're looking to be doing work up at Mossmorran petrochemical plant in Fife as well soon. So we cover quite an area and quite a vast sort of scope of works as well.
Yeah, it sounds like there's plenty of work on the go.
Yeah, I mean, we've noticed the downturn since the budget. People are definitely holding on to money a bit more, and slower to make decisions. So again, some of the management information that we track is our pipeline, our sales pipeline. So we've found some of the statistics are we're being asked to quote much more frequently and smaller amounts. So we've done more volume of quotes for smaller sums. Therefore, the conversion rate percentage wise is down as well, and the values. So we're having to quote much more. People are just, can we bring it down a bit? Can we bring it down a bit? Can we bring it down a bit? So we're trying to buck that trend a wee bit and look for different avenues and try and build the net again of potential clients. So
Great. So in your career as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, um, have you had have you had people around you that have inspired you or that were kind of like role models to you or that have kind of pushed and challenged you to be successful?
yeah, I guess I've got quite a strong network. I've always been active in the community, as in the business community or in the landscaping sector. I'm the chairman of the British Association of Landscape Industries, so it keeps your hand in with that sort of community. Likewise, in construction in general, the West Lothian Construction Forum, I'm on the committee of that as well. We use these committees as business networking, peer-to-peer support. So there's lots of business owners and managers and leaders that attend our meetings. So you've got the access to all these kind of guys as well, which is great because everyone's on a different path and a slightly different point in their journey on certain elements. So if you've got a challenge, you can bring it up in confidence with some of these people, and they can generally share some of their
Yeah.
positives and negatives. So you can learn just as much from somebody's failures as you can from their successes. So we like to try and lean on each other as much as we can. And we've got that sort of understanding as well. So yeah, certain networks are great for that if you use it properly and if you engage properly. But then there's also like the owner of the surfacing business or the previous owner of the surfacing business. He's also in his 70s and he's uh, quite a sharp businessman as well. So really understands the profits and making sure that you're looking after the business and drilling down on the cost, make sure everything's running lean and smooth. So having those kind of key people around you definitely helps to sharpen the mind a bit.
What would you say has been your biggest learning as a business owner? You kind of told us about the journey with the banks and the taking over the company one day. As a business owner, what would you say has been your biggest learning so far?
Uh, every day is a learning day, really, but it's I guess letting go a bit is key. So when I was only looking after land technology, uh, I struggled with originally the idea of taking over the other business because it would be having to let go too much. But in actual fact, it was the best thing that I did was to let go and just make sure that I had enough systems and processes in place that whoever was taking over the day-to-day operations
Yeah.
had the tools available. And then you can just dip in and make sure that they're still following your kind of vision and what you're expecting from the business. So yeah, it's learning to let go and letting the people that you've got into these positions do their job.
It's just I'm smiling because I literally just had a conversation with another business owner about that, how she needs
Yeah,
to let go of just two hands on, two day to day.
yeah,
So you can't do both, right? You can't be an
yeah,
effective
absolutely.
leader and at the same time be getting your hands dirty on the ground all day, every day.
Yeah. I guess for me, it was a bit of being chucked into the deep end because the opportunity arose. I didn't really want to let it go to take on running two businesses. So I had to get better at delegating just by sheer. There's no way I could have managed running both businesses. The surfacing business is a much more mature business, been around since the late 80s, obviously regenerated it a bit. So we've got the trading history, but the new leadership, new ownership. So we're re-engaged and re-energized with a different strategy. Um, but I couldn't have run that myself. It was a 3 million business, 3 million turnover business at the time. We're now up to 4.5 million turnover. So it was too big for me to miss up on the opportunity, but also too much work for me to do on my own. Likewise, the landscaping company was just starting up. We turn over 300K in year one, grown it to 1.5 in year two, and then we're now up at kicking around about 2 million, and we're just about to make a strategic hire to try and take us to that next level.
Amazing. What would you say has been your biggest challenge during the years as a business owner?
Uh, yeah, a bit of credit control, cash flow can be a bit of a challenge. It's the disappointment when clients don't pay what they're supposed to pay and trying not to take that personally because it can feel a bit devaluing, undervaluing. So we have to work quite hard to make sure that we get paid the value that we're expecting. And it's the knock-on effect that that can have to you. I guess that's a kind of a technicality. Some of the challenges are, like I said before, about learning to let go, and
Mm-hmm.
then once you've let go, is trying to stay to keep the yeah how to word that just to let people do, and then, but without letting go too much that you lose track of how things are. So there might have been a couple of occasions where you step back a bit too much, and then when you try to go back in, it's you're a bit lost. So there needs to be a bit of a structure to it as well.
Yeah, so delegating where you're staying, you're keeping your eye close to the action.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
just not getting stuck in necessarily and doing the work.
yeah,
So you're not surprised or disappointed.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So what's the next big thing for you in your business? What do the next 1 to 3 years look like in terms of, like you mentioned, growth, taking you to the next level? What's
Yeah.
the future look like for you?
So there are a couple of things. Sives officing, obviously, we're just coming to the end of or we've just had our final payment at the beginning of March for the loan. So I guess it's build up a bit of a cash balance and then look to reinvest. We started reinvesting a bit last year on new vehicles. We'll look at investing in some strategic plant and equipment to help us just to move away from relying on leases and hires, so build up the kind of equity in the business,
Mhm.
and then look at different regions. So we cover Scotland at the moment, but there's opportunity in the north of England, so just a strategic creep into these sort of other areas as well. Um, with land technology, we cover, so we're landscaping, new build housing across the east of Scotland. So strategic hire would be more focused on west of Scotland and then also into grounds maintenance. So just adding a different sales funnel onto the business as well. So we're not overly reliant on certain things, different region as well, so we can build that up. We've got it set up so it's fairly easy to replicate the system that we use. We use an online app for managing projects. Feedback from the guys on the site is great. Feedback from clients is great as well because of the interface and the planning and everything like that. So it's fairly easy to bring somebody on to just let them run with that. So it's a franchise without it being a franchise, basically.
Yeah. Wow, you're talking my language here. So, so you're growing these companies, you're expanding into different regions, expanding into different products and or technologies or services. I mean, what would you say to a business owner who's worried about trying to grow their business and losing control or working an 80-hour work week and not having any time? What's your advice to them?
Um, that was me. That was me before, is working all the hours under the sun. So I seen the opportunity to start a business to get control of my life again. So I was quite strict with my working times, hence why I've got the hobbies as well. It was a reason to get out of the office and to go and do something that energized me. So that's further down the line, but I needed that distraction to pull away from work and value my time in the office for office work, value my time at home for being engaged with the family, and then I had to have some time for me as well with hobbies and things. So um, structure your time better so that you're managing, and then you'll realize that the value of that time that you put in will gain you more. If you devalue your personal time, then you're going to creep and creep and creep and keep adding on hours to your week rather than being really structured about your day-to-day job. So really focus on how you structure your day to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And then look at your your systems and processes. If you don't know about systems and processes and how to set them up and do them, then that's the best learning you can do is what am I doing constantly and how can I do it better? Or what are other people doing constantly and how can we make that a system that other people could replicate? So if you've got a team of a few people and somebody's doing something really well, you want everybody else to be doing it like them. Or if you do something really well, you want everyone else to be doing it like you. So spend a bit of time and actually train people up and document those kind of things that people can follow As soon as you've got something that's written down and can be followed and easily trained, then it's easy to then delegate that task to that person or to a new person or whatever.
So you sound like a man who's very determined to scale up these businesses without having it upset the balance of your life and or have a
Yeah,
negative impact on your family life and your fitness and your fun.
yeah. Basically, that's the goal. Why have a business if it becomes your only part of your life? Because I think it's trying to manage relationships in general, friends, family, colleagues, loved ones, whatever, is can be a challenge. But if you let go of all that stuff, that, like I said earlier, that was me as an employee doing 70, 80-hour weeks. Uh, I have two kids, but I'm not with their mother anymore because of that. So it does help you to take stock when something negative in your life happens. You have to take action and think, right, well, I don't really want that happening again. I need to get control of my life. So that's when you start valuing things much more.
Yeah, it gives you a different perspective, and we're not going to repeat that.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Okay. I think the people watching this are going to definitely take away some powerful messages and shine the light on what to some people might be obvious. But then again, they may be looking at the business and going, well, how well am I really, like, how systemized is my business really? Like, could I
Hmm.
really double, triple, 30 times my business without losing control? You
Yeah.
well, Colin, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. We've come to the end of it. I don't know if that flew by for you or it,
Yeah.
it certainly did, certainly did for me. Thanks so much for being on the show.
No problem. Yeah. Thanks for having us again.
Well, this has been the Founders Chair podcast, and we've been talking to Colin Smith of Sives Surfacing and Land Technologies Limited. And I've been Andy Goldberg, and thanks to all our listeners. And we'll see you again on the Founders Chair podcast again real soon. Thanks again, Colin.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.